Hi, my name is Volkan. I'm a videographer and video editor, and you're listening to Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I'm lucky enough to have Volkan, who is a content producer and also a videographer. Am I correct?
Yeah, freelance as well. Yes, I am.
No, it's cool, good. No, it's perfect. Thank you so much for coming on the Us People podcast. How have you been?
I've been good, and thank you for having me, by the way, as well. I think obviously everyone's been doing this right now with all their meetings and everything. It's a bit strange. It's times, isn't it?
Yeah, it is strange times at the moment. I think for all of us, we're learning what really being at home is like. So a lot of people are like, I want to go back out. I can't wait to go back out. But it's funny because even when I'm at work in my other job, a lot of people always say to me, I wish I was at home. And now you get that chance to be at home. Now you want to be back at work. So
yeah, it's the strangest thing. I mean, like, there's always those funny memes, in it, because I do video editing a lot.
Yeah.
When they say like lockdown, it's just a person before and after lockdown. It's like I've always been in this, so it doesn't really matter for me. Or like those other gaming video one, you know, it's like before and after. So it doesn't really matter. But I do on the filming side of everything, it's gone really, like, as you can say, belly up in terms of production. Everything. I mean, did you hear that the BAFTAs is going to be streamed and everything?
Yeah,
it's crazy. And like watching football with no crowd. It's just like...
and they're doing festivals with no crowd as well. So I don't know how that's going to be, because when you're at a festival, it's about enjoying the crowd and enjoying the moment and being there. So I don't know how that is when you're...
I guess it'll be like this, isn't it? Like...
It's not the same. It's not the same. You can't jump on your friends or say, yeah, I'm enjoying myself. It's just literally, you'll be sitting down, you know, and you can't enjoy yourself the way you would that if you were there live.
But you know what? It's also like it's also another thing. It's like we should be so thankful that we have what we're doing now. And
that is true.
So imagine the days of MSN.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember those. Oh,
do you remember that emoji when everyone like does that?
I actually miss those days in a way, because
the nudge.
I used to nudge a lot.
Yeah. Like, where are you? 3 a.m. Where are you? Why are you not up?
Oh man. So let's get into it, Volkan.
Okay, go for it.
Tell us a little bit about where you were brought up and how you grew up, and also how did that influence you to be a videographer and, you know, a content producer?
I guess it sort of, I was born and raised in East London. I never left where I live. I went to primary school here. I went to secondary school here. I went to college here. I studied it. I did my bachelor's at Greenwich, and I guess it all started like when it comes to like wanting to do video. Is my parents, my father was always working, and my mother couldn't really speak English. She was working as well, so bedtime stories wasn't really a not thing for me when I grew up. So my mum used to put a video on every time. So I used to just watch loads of movies. So when I was a kid, I watched so many movies, and I thought, well, this is another form of storytelling. Yeah. I learned that very early. And obviously when parents, it wasn't like my mum had to work, my dad had to work, and you know, me and my brothers just be like, what do we do? And there's no internet back then, and there's no apps, so we had to just watch the VHS player, and that was it. And so we used to go Blockbusters a lot. And then that was it, really.
Yeah,
so
I remember Blockbusters.
Yeah, I miss it. I miss that.
I miss all those things. I miss R Price. I miss Blockbusters. I miss all the cool things.
So it just sort of stemmed from there, really. And I always wanted to learn to do videos and learn. And even when I was like, the first time I ever went out and recorded something, I was 13 years old, and we used to go to this event. It was a Street Fighter event called Ranking Battles. And I used to record with my crappy little hand camera and then give them the videos. This is before the word esports was not a thing. This is before this. And funnily enough, when I was recording it, I just thought, I'm just filming and playing games. I'm hanging out with people older than me. You know, when you're younger, you like to hang out with olders and play games. So that was like a thing. And then weirdly enough, years went by and I obviously sort of forgot about that. When I went to study at Greenwich, did my film studies at Greenwich. The first ever time I worked on a movie set, my friend Tim came. He's like, yo, because we were film study students. We're like, oh, we've got a job. We've got a job at this set because they used to film at Greenwich.
Yeah.
A lot. I'm like, yeah, this is my way into the movie industry. And my first ever job, I was so hyped. We woke up at 5 a.m. We got there and we shoveled horse poo because it was Pirates of the Caribbean, and that was my job.
Are you serious?
But we were all like, we were proper gassed in it. We're like, oh man, this is it. We were so gassed in it. We're like, oh man, we made it.
Oh man, it's a good story to tell.
Yeah, but we were like, oh yeah, we made it, dude. We've done it. But eventually, like, I sort of went away from working on movies because I just grew up. I didn't saw the interest in it.
Yeah.
So I went to like documentaries, and then I sort of didn't interest. You think you like something, but you don't really want to do it.
No, that's true. Yeah.
And eventually, I ended up working as a part-time job in game. And they opened up their new gaming arenas. They're branching into a different company. And then they said, we want someone to film content. So I was like, you can film. So I ended up doing filming again, games again. And it just sort of branched into it. And then now I get called from like Capcom, or like people I work with Capcom, people from Namco. And the funny thing is I'm working at these huge events and these huge places. I travel a lot for my job before the lockdown. Yeah. And those guys I filmed when I was 13. I work with them now. So it's been like more than 10 years. So they're like, oh, wow, connection. It's you. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, oh, we're back together again. And it was really like a bit of a circle. Like it went back to it. It's pretty cool. And the people I filmed are like gamers and like professional gamers. When they were young, I still see them. And I was like, I saw you on the internet when it took me like 10 hours to download your clip.
So would you say you're a big gamer fan as well? Are you a big gamer yourself?
I do play a lot of games myself, but then I think everyone's a gamer. I mean, nowadays,
definitely, that's true.
I mean, if you look on the phone, everyone's playing games on their phones, like Candy Crush on the train. So everyone's a gamer now. So that her term is like everyone's a big gamer, even if it's app gaming or mobile gaming or PC gaming. That's like the extreme one. So I think, what game do you play on the train? You play something.
You're gonna laugh. Yeah, I play golf on the train.
You play golf?
Yeah, I play golf on the train.
You look like you're playing golf.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Like, do you like talk secretly in your head, like quietly, like, and then Savia is going to put the ball. Oh, good. Do you do that?
It's like, oh, come on, this can be a birdie. Come on. Come on. Pull it back. Pull it back. Pull it. And when the arrow is going like this across your screen, and you have to get it on perfect. If I get it off, I'm like, oh, and then people will start looking at me like, what's she doing?
Yeah,
like I really get into it.
Yeah. I've missed lots of train stops before when I was playing a game on my phone. I'm like, where am I?
I think we've all done that because we're so passionately into what we're doing, we forget what's naturally around us. And in a way, that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, especially with this whole, like, I'm hearing so many people do stuff in this lockdown. Don't get me wrong. It's really messed up the event industry. Everyone adapted for that. In terms of camera operators or videographers myself, I had to learn a new trade, which was broadcasting from home and filming from home, and I learned some really new things. And I mean, like, everyone out there has learned something new to maybe enhance their career or enhance their skill level, or maybe just wanted to learn how to paint or something, or sew. I mean, we're seeing all this cool stuff that people are learning, and I guess it's some sort of outcome to being locked down. But I mean, it's a serious issue, and people should really take it seriously.
I think there was an incident where a lot of people were going outside. And because it's a hot day, like now, it's a beautiful day outside. Oh my gosh, it's such a beautiful day outside. And although I'm fortunate enough to be able to do the podcast with so many different people from so many different backgrounds, it's apparently the police have been going outside. And they're saying that they couldn't stop everyone because everyone is outside sunbathing and everything. And they can't stop everyone because only 2 of them or 4 of them. And there's hundreds of people outside wanting to be outside. So it's really hard at the moment for people to want to stay inside. But then again, I think that people need to look out for other people's safety as well because of what's going on.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Like, Like at first, I'm not gonna lie. At first, when I was getting my events jobs cancelled, one minute I was gonna go to Poland, that got cancelled. Then in Germany, and then I was like getting angry. I was thinking, no, it's not. People should just do this and that. But then when it,
Realize.
I was naive as well at the beginning of this. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, it's probably just a cold, and it was just media scaring people. And then when you saw the tolls and then the Italy and Spain, I was like, well, this needs to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And it's sad that I was like, but it's an eye opener. And maybe thank goodness that these events were closed. I mean, we'll cracking jokes about like notifications of like book your flights for Dubai, and I was like, oh wow, I was meant to be in Jordan right now, yeah.
Yeah, see?
Or I was meant to be here, but
Yeah.
it's all. But in the end, everyone just needs to make sure that they stay safe and keep healthy and keep the distance. And what we're doing now, I mean, I'm sure during lockdown we probably not had this conversation.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Imagine that's it,
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
true. It's really true. It's weird in a way because I believe that everything happens for a reason, and we do things for a reason, and everything that's going on is most probably for a reason in its own aspect of things. But yeah, no, it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. It's the craziest thing. Like, I do right now. I'm part-time video editor for a website called Huddle.gg. It's an esports community website where they get streamers, streamers that have like the most epic moments or funny moments, and they feed it towards us. And we're community. We're going to start doing podcasts as well. And this whole it's a bedroom business initially, and it's only started because my manager, who I used to be my boss, the founder of it, Craig Wood, used to be my manager in game.
Okay.
Yes, and then he came up to me and said, I'm going to start this whole thing. Do you want to be on it? I was like, yeah, sure, I'll be the video editor. And then now we've got about 10 or 11 people working for us now.
Oh, wow.
And it's a full website, and we've already got like loads of traction. And we've gone live like 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5, and we're getting loads of followers and people, and this would have never happened
if we wasn't on lockdown.
Because everyone would have been like, that thing when they're like, oh, I want to start this, but I'm too busy with work. I'm too busy with this. Well, there's no excuse. You're at home. You're at home. You're stuck in this room. You're stuck in this room. There's no excuse, isn't it? And so that's like the sort of the silver lining of it. But again, it keeps everyone busy and sane. I mean, it's just like it keeps like before this. Like I'm someone that needs routine. I need a schedule. I wake up, have myself a cup of tea, take my dog out for a pee, and then come back. He gives me the look like, hey, let's go out. And then sit down, and at the end of the day, relax. 6 o'clock. You do something else. Yeah. And it's like nice schedule. I'm sure your personal schedule as well.
I'm very much a schedule. I have to keep to a schedule. Like normally I do about sometimes 7-8 podcasts a day. You have to put an hour and a half between each one, and you also have to think of technical faults. Plus I work as well, so you have to be able to balance everything, and it's hard because time goes so fast and you never know what's going to happen during that time. So it's nice to have a routine and a schedule.
I mean, it just feels like yesterday when Boss did that first lockdown announcement. Do you remember when people were buying like 5 bags of dirt, and then you couldn't, and then people were like toilet rolls. I mean, I just can't believe that it just felt like yesterday. But now we're getting to it's lightening up. Maybe we can sort of go to the park now. People are not people are keeping their distance. We have new set of rules. We've sort of prepared, and we should all be so thankful that with England, London, the UK in general wasn't like heavy hit and serious lockdown like other countries in the EU, and we should be fortunate enough that the police we have the luxury of going out.
Do you think it's too early for people to be going out, or do you think that it's okay now for the lockdown to ease us?
I think people to parks maybe. I don't know. I'm not a health professional, but I mean in terms of like for my sake, like
just from your point of view,
filming in events or production work or like BAFTAs or football thing, that's too early days, I think. Because they're gonna put a rule where you sit down in one chair but you can't sit on 2 chairs. Who's gonna get let in? How do you pick and choose that? Yeah. People got to be outside, right? And they're like, I want to go. I pay ticket. It's like, no. There's only a certain amount.
No, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
That's another thing as well. And like event jobs, the ones that I do, I mean, I thought maybe I went from like filming high esports events to okay, I'll just do private events like weddings and ceremonies and whatever, and then they started getting cancelled, and then so you see like it was like a real domino effect.
I must say, it's hard I've spoken to so many freelancers over these past couple of weeks, and each one of them have said something similar, by saying that, you know, all my events have been cancelled. I thought it would just be one or two. I didn't realize how extreme it was going to get. And so many people have lost so much money. And this is people's living, this is people's lives.
Yeah,
You know?
the sad thing was like this was the year for me where I was usually always getting by. Was always sort of just getting by, but this was the year for me personally, and I'm sure there's people out there, freelancers or people that self-own businesses. That was the year was gonna be like that was the year where I made a profit. You know that when
Yeah,
people put
that
that
one
$1
year.
on the wall, they frame it. Or like this was the year. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna be able to start saving. I'm gonna be able to travel and pay back some people or whatever, or pay back some debit cards. And then all of a sudden, it went from that to, you know, like get the change machine out, you know, start scrapping again, and you know, or like it wasn't like, and I had personal clients where they were PT trainers. I have a lot of personal trainers where I met to make content videos for them.
Yeah.
I think I'll just go to that as well. But then they started losing their clients because they're not allowed to go to the gym anymore.
Yeah.
You see, and then they started losing. And then it was like, oh my God, it was just whirlwind for everyone. And not just for camera operators or video editors, but like everyone, like, you know, people that work in construction. I think key workers, but then again, though, I mean, they're fine, they're working, but they were going out during the peak of all this as well.
Yeah.
They were like,
I think I'm one of those people because I'm classed as an essential worker, so therefore I help key workers. So it's one of those things where it's dangerous because I don't want to go on the trains, so I drive into work. But at the same time, I have to be cautious when I'm at work still because I'm helping key workers.
Yeah, it's just great because you like, there's some people that are still working, but those people don't want to work, you know?
Yeah.
I've got friends that work in a bank and he had to go to the bank where there was no one in there, but he still had to go because because he had to go in there. He just went there and it was like, no one. He opened up and closed it and it was like, no one. It was like, but you have to do it.
You have to do it. Yeah, because no, I get it. But other than that, let's move on. Let's move on to you, honey. Let's move on. So tell me a bit about what's the difference between a videographer and a content producer. Because I know they have different.
I guess videographer is mainly focusing. I mean, when you're a videographer, you got to do video editing as well. And it's a bit of everything, realistic. You know, when I went to college, people were like, I want to be the director, I want to be the video editor, I want to be the camera guy, camera operator, the lighting operator. But when you're a videographer, you got to do all of that. So realistic, I mean, like, you got to do everything. And even what you're doing now, I'm sure you were thinking about, I've got to get the mic set, I've got to do the sound, got to get the audio right, got to get the lights. So everyone knows. So I think that term videographer is not loosely used. It's more like when you're a videographer, you need to just can't say, I'm a camera operator.
Yeah.
No, you got to do everything.
Yeah.
No, you got to learn something as well from that. And so, like, imagine, like, when people hire me, they say, imagine you just hire me to be a camera operator, but you wanted to edit the video. I go, I don't do that. Well, you're limiting yourself. So in terms of videographer is it's very production based and it's very hands-on everything. Like whenever all the videos I've done for my clients, it's everything I do myself. I have my own studio, I have my own lighting equipment, everything that could fit into one suitcase and you can travel with. That's pretty much it. And it's under 20 kg because when it's over 20 kg, it costs like 200 quid on the plane.
Tell me about it.
Right now. Right now.
Just putting them out there.
No, but all airlines do that. I mean, because there's a weight limit, of course. So that's usually my motto: carry everything in one suitcase, and it's under 20 kg, and you're set to go anywhere in the world. You can get called up tomorrow and say, "Hey, I need you to go to, I need to go to Dublin. Can you do that tomorrow? Can you come next week? Can you come there tomorrow?" Yeah, cool. I'll just get on the plane and go, and then just wheel it, and you don't have to worry about that bag. You just throw it in your rucksack.
Yeah.
So that's usually the model for me. And in terms of content producer really is like grabbing existing content that you haven't filmed.
Okay.
So ideally, anything that people pitch towards you or you find online. So like something like Lab Bible, they don't go out and, Lab Bible and
I've heard of
video,
them.
Lab Bible, for instance. Let's use them as an example. Most of their content is not them lot filming it. It's people pushing it to them, say, hey, this is my dog doing a backflip, and then they write something underneath. That's a content producer. That's what they're finding now. They pitch towards that, or they get researchers or people looking for them, and then you just do the box and you do the graphics, and that's initially what you did. But you can also create promotional videos for that, and that's usually what it is. It's more of a very creative aspect on the fact that you need to tell a story based on what that story is telling you. If that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
so you
that
get those
makes
funny
sense.
captions. Yeah.
That makes
So it's a
total
bit more
sense.
creative as well, and I learned to do that when I worked at with my one of my office based jobs. It was a video editor, but they got changed to the video content producer when I worked at NetMums, and I was making videos about. I was getting sent. I started off with just making like top 5 things you shouldn't do eating when you're on like, that's like all that top 5. It was very women's based and children's based content, and it was very strange, but it was good fun though, and I loved the crew I worked with. But eventually, I ended up looking for content because if you steal something on Instagram and you pitch to them like, hey, I like your video, I work for this website. It would be great if we can use your content and we'll credit you, like at the bottom. And everyone always said yes because everyone wants. It's fun. It's why if you posted it on your social, then you want people to see it.
Yeah, of course, of course. No, that makes total sense. Tell us about the process of making a video and how it is from start to finish. Because you have obviously a client will come to you and say, "Hey, we want a video and we have this spec for you." Maybe I know every videographer is different, but tell us about the process of start to finish of how it works for you.
I guess for me, one of the main things whenever I get people asking me for is what. It's not usually. I tend to ask for the budget at the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
So don't go straight into it. Do you have a budget? It's like usually I see what they want to say, and then realistically, you tell them the realization of it. So, example, I made a in-house promotional video for JLL in Canary Wharf. It's one of my regular clients. They're great people there. And the second, they have like a big event every year and they want to make a comedy sketch out of the in-house jokes. And I always tell them, okay, so what do you want to do this year? And they say, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then you have to then tell them the realization of what you can do and what the expectations are. So one of them said, yeah, I want to get a drone shot around Canary Wharf. I'm like, well, okay, you can't do that because you're not allowed to fly drones.
Yeah, you're not allowed, yeah.
But as someone, I don't want to lose that person because they might get something. You didn't ask them. But we can get royalty-free videos of stock footage, or websites that you line up, and of Canary Wharf, which is perfectly legal because you're a member of the. If you pay for the subscription of like Starter Shock you could use that. And it's in-house, so then you just say, okay, we'll just use that. And then they will say, okay, I want to do like filming outside of our building at JP Morgan. And I'm like, okay, we can't film in Canary Wharf because you can't put ground there. And it's, what about in the taxi? It's like, well, then you're gonna have to pay the taxi guy to go around, and the cab driver might not want to do that. So you have to sort of swindle in a different way. But then you give your creative idea because they want to do like a music sequence. And I said, well, maybe you just do it in the lift or somewhere else. So you still got to be quite creative with their idea.
Yeah.
So don't just say like, no, you can't do that, or don't say yes and then you can't do it during shoot.
I think a lot of people say yes and don't realize what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things.
That's one of the things. Like you just got to be honest with them and tell them. And if you're experienced enough as well, like I've made that mistake with my first client. I said yes, 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 and then we just couldn't film that day. And it was like, well, this is your fault, and it's because it's your video. You should know these things, and you should know your level of your expectations. And so and so that's usually how I liaise with clients. They always ask me something, and then most of the clients I have great views of London or the top tower, and again, you could sort of use that to your advantage and say you maybe do a visit to them personal once. A lot of times it's just like this: we meet up and and I'll come to your office and we see what it looks like, or where do you want to film? We have a look. That's usually another rule of mine: is the person wants to film here, and they have permission. I said, okay, I want to go there and have a look, do a little recce, and then you look and it's like, nice. What you want won't work here.
Okay, so it's just giving your client that understanding of what's real and what is not real. No, that makes total sense.
Absolutely, and you just got to be honest with them sometimes and just say like, no, that won't work, or I personally think this will do this way. But if they still want to go through with it, then you let them go through with it. But then during shoot, you sort of say like, okay, cool, can we do it the other way for just a second, please?
Yeah.
And then you do it.
Show them.
Then sometimes they're like, yeah, it worked better that way. And it's like, cool.
Have you ever had demanding clients? Like, even though you say, let's do it this way, they're stuck on a certain way or demand a client.
Yeah, absolutely. That's people. That's someone's vision. That's what they want, and
Yeah.
that's their vision. That's their idea. And you know what? Some people are set down by that, and you have to respect that. But in terms of the practicality of it, is like if it's practical, if you can actually do it, and they really and you advise them that it won't look what you think it would look like, but then you tell them before you do it, and then they see, I see what you meant, which is why you sort of while you're filming, just say you as a backup, you do what you want to do as well, and then they say, okay, look, remember when I said I did that bit? This is what it would look like. And then most of the time they say, yeah, you're right. But don't if they're very set down by it, I've had clients like that, and yeah, absolutely, you got to respect them. That's your client. They're the ones
No,
paying.
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
They're paying for the service, I suppose. So
They're paying for this, yeah.
no, that makes total sense. What inspires you, Volkan? What inspires you to do filming and be a videographer? Because it's not an easy job by any means.
I think honestly, what inspires me a lot is when I sometimes whenever I'm losing creative, the creative like buzz or the drive.
I was going to
like,
ask you that one too.
Like the buzz, because it is a proper graft just to be like, oh god, why am I doing this? I just have a 9-to-5 job, or I'm always stressing. I'm always like, I need to look for clients. You're always working 7 days a week. There's no day off. There's no day off. You're always on a Sunday. I'm getting calls from people, and I'm like, hello, like blah blah blah. And it's like you shouldn't be doing that. But as someone that's self-employed and to drive the creativity, I always have I like to. It's very we used to say pretentious, but I like to go to the cinema on my own.
No, that's not a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I go on a weekday in the night because everyone's meant to go to bed and go to a normal job.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Cinema.
Yeah, no, that's a good way of thinking it.
I go to the cinema on my own. Yeah.
Oh.
Like my friend, I think I walked into one of group of my friends going to one film, and I was like, I'm gonna watch this one on my own. And then I'll sit at the pub afterwards. But that's what I do, and I really. Yeah. I take it in and I turn off my phone. I don't look at my phone, I turn it off, and I just really just sit there and I think, yeah, this is a good movie. It could be any movie. I don't care. And most of the time I don't watch trailers as well.
Yeah. Do you feel like trailers ruin a movie from your point of view?
Yeah, I think they do.
So.
But I see the reason for them.
Yeah.
But they need to have that, and there's some people out there that just enjoy it. I watch a movie because I just really love how it's made. Like when I watch a movie, it's not like it's the story and everything, but I also love it. Like, how did they film that?
Yeah.
How did they do it? Oh, they must have done it that. Oh, they must have done it this way. And in my mind, I'm like, this is powering my creativity in my brain, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do something like that. I like that shot. So the last movie I watched in the cinemas on my own was 1917. Yeah, and I had the cinema to myself. I was the only one there, which was I felt like a big shot. I felt like a big shot. You should see my Instagram story. I was like, yeah, booked that for myself. Yeah. But it was like, yeah, I turned off my phone and I sat down. I had the cinema to myself, and it was just like, how did they make this incredible movie? And then you just end up, this is just incredible, and it really just made you feel like I'm part of this sort of that process of filming and editing, and I'm so proud of it, and I'm so like, and maybe one day I could do something similar, maybe not, who knows, but I'm just happy to be there. That really flows the creative producers. That's it. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the business side of being a videographer. I know we spoke a little bit about, you know, how to do things and whatnot, but what about, and you're working 7 days a week, but how is it business wise for you? How do you do everything you do and be able to still do the accounts and you know, make sure everything's done on time, written on time, everything's scheduled on time? How is the business side of it compared to the creative side of it?
That is a part that you have to be really, I guess will be the business side. Like, so for instance, like income and taxes, I guess the best thing you can do is get a friend that's an accountant. That's my that's that side. Get a friend that's an accountant that can help you, because I'm terrible with numbers, and so I'll just be like, this is my invoices and outvoices, help me out there. And then so spend a day once a month, spend a day doing that with your friend or someone you know, or get an accountant. If you don't know how to do it, just get an accountant.
No, that's fair enough.
That's, if you can't, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, I'm a math whiz. I'm like, no, I just got a friend.
I think every creative person has said that to me so far. I think every creative person who I've spoken to on a podcast says to me, get an accountant. or get a friend who knows numbers, because we as creative people sometimes our head is so far in the creative side of things that we forget to do our what's most important sometimes,
Yeah,
and that's the
yes.
numbers. So
In terms of like management sides of, I mean, personally, what I do, I color coordinate everything.
that's a
So
good thing.
I color coordinate every file in my room. So that, I mean, tools over there, and it's like it's color coordinated based on what client is and what color it is. Because I've got dyslexia, so I see things better with color.
Same
So
as
I
me.
just see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I get a call from a tattoo artist that I know, I'm like, oh, that's Pink. I know who he is. And then, and then I always ask my clients as well, what's your favorite color, by the way? And they're like, why? I'm like, oh, so I can file you.
Yeah. No, that
And
makes
they're like,
sense.
okay. They say purple. I'm like, okay, purple is your color now. So then whenever they call me, let me get your file out.
See,
Or
that's
like
cool.
on my phone. And look, so I know what's going
I'm
on.
glad
And
I'm not the only one who does that, because I do everything in colors as well. When I'm writing, I write everything in colors and coordination of colors.
yeah, I do. Yeah, that's what I do as well. Whenever when I did my masters, it was all color coordinated. So it's all
Oh,
like,
cool. See, that's
yeah,
cool.
it's just so you can see it. But it's just how I work. I'm sure other people do other things as
Yeah.
well. But that's being organized is a crucial part of working being a freelancer. I mean, I be the level of success I have now, I've learned from the failures of before. So when I first tried to be a full-time freelancer, I absolutely tanked. I didn't have a website. That's how bad I was. I just had a Vimeo page and then thought,
Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna be raking in those clients. And then I didn't. And so I learned that I need to have a website. And then after that, I had a website. But then, so that the second wave of being a full-time freelancer, I had a website, I had everything else, but I wasn't organized enough. I wasn't doing my accounts properly. I wasn't doing my organizing properly. I was mixing and matching the scheduling. And now the third time was the better time, which was now, which ironically we have this situation of lockdown. But again, you learn to become successful. You got to fail so much, and I took it to heart a lot. But now I see it, I'm like, do you know what? I learned so much from those times, and that's part of being working for yourself, or like any job, even, or like starting your own business.
yeah.
I'm sure there's people out there that started their businesses before and they failed so many times, and then they learned from their mistakes, or they learned what went wrong.
I think when you have a business and it doesn't go the way you planned it, it's not necessarily a bad thing, like you're saying. I think it's a learning curve for all of us, and I think especially some people take it really hardly, and some people learn that, you know what, next time I'm going to do this better, or next time I'm going to go take that avenue. But what I also wanted to talk to you about is, for the sheer fact that you were open to say that you have dyslexia, how do you handle your I know you talk about colors and things and how you put things in order, but how do you handle dyslexia, and how do people around you handle the fact that you have dyslexia?
Well, I mean, I mean, I'm 30 years old, and when I went to, I don't know how they teach dyslexia now, but I mean, when I was in primary school, it's not what it is now, and it was actually quite wrong, I believe, personally, because it really emotionally made me embarrassed about it.
Yeah, I used to feel like that too.
I used to be embarrassed, ashamed about it, because I had to like go outside. Most of my primary school life was outside the classroom in the corridor with the other dyslexic kids. But I'm like, why wasn't I integrated with them? So I felt quite ashamed by it when I was younger, and I never mentioned it to anyone. Even in my like when I did my BA, my bachelor's, you could have got like extra time on deadlines, and I didn't want that because I was so ashamed of it. But then one of my friends, I told you, one I worked with at the Tim, he was so proud of it. He was like, "Yeah, I should be proud of it. Creativity, man. You
See?
should be sending it." And he made me feel like, you know what, I should be as well. And that really helped me. And he was a good guy. So I mean, maybe. And whenever it comes with clients, sometimes I just say it. I just say it now. What does that word mean? I don't understand. I just sometimes when I'm editing a video, especially if you're a video editor and you're
Yeah.
working for a site, when they're not next to you, sometimes they send me like a list of things and they don't paraphrase it, or I can't understand it. I just sometimes just say highlight there, and I just highlight it in yellow, and then I say, I did not understand what was that about. Could you please just dumb it down for me, or like just make it a bit more simpler for me? I just have a bit of difficulty understanding. And nowadays it's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Sometimes you just got to say it.
Yeah.
Don't understand.
No, I agree
Just
with
say
you.
it. Just say it. Like when I have like my meetings with like with the website, the esports community website, sometimes they're asking me, I want this and that. I literally just sometimes just message them and say, I did not understand what you just said, dude. Can you just simplify it for me? And they all understand. And they don't really need to say it, really. but it was a bit of it was a tough time for me. Like asking for help was like next to none. I never asked for help, or I never admitted that I didn't understand.
Was it that
I
you
just,
felt too ashamed and embarrassed that you didn't want to
yeah,
ask for
it
help?
was absolutely that. Absolutely ashamed, and I was embarrassed. And to be quite honest, if I worked with someone that then would be like, what don't you understand? Will you? And then I said, well, I got that, and they didn't. I wouldn't want to work with that person again. Actually, I was like, well, why would I want to work with someone that's not understanding? There's people, you know, why would you want to do that? Sometimes, when I'm reading something on the train or I can't read it and I just see a word, I really want to know what it is. The person next to me, I'm like, what does that word mean? And they're like, it means that. Like,
I like that. No, I like that. I like the
like,
fact that you have the confidence now to be able to do that, whereas before you thought that some people feel like that. Like I was speaking to a gentleman just before you, and he said that he has dyslexia too, and he said people used to make him feel really stupid that he had dyslexia, and it would lower his confidence level extremely. And I said, how did you get back up? He said, my creative side brought me back up. And he said, sometimes it just takes one person to lift you back up. And he said that's what it was, just like you and your friend Tim. He just lifted you back up.
It was literally like that, like, and he was like, he just sort of, he said it in the, I remember when he said it in the, those first day in uni, there's like a massive crowd of people. And he went, yeah, I don't understand. I've got dyslexia. I was literally like, you just admitted in front of everyone. And I was like, whoa, I'm so jealous. I was so like, whoa, like, that's a bit of an eye opener. And I was like, maybe I don't have to be embarrassed by it.
Exactly.
It was such a long time. I was like 22, 20. I was 20. Sorry, I was 20 years old when it happened. So 10 years ago, and ever since then, and working with clients as well, you need to have that. That was one of the second reasons why I didn't succeed at being a full-time freelancer. I just didn't have the confidence of going up to people and saying, I had no confidence. I used to be like going up to people or like email, hey, do you want to video? People won't want that. And you can understand that. You can actually understand why they want a camera operator. And then now I go up to people and say, hey, this is me, business card. Or I'll do a little banter, I'll talk. And then it's just this, and you build a relationship based on the confidence. And if your client believes in you, sees your confidence, then and you're being honest with them, then it sort of bounces off between it. And now it's like, yeah, I mean, one of my clients is now going to be a potential business partner for something else we're doing. But we started off with just being a client to be business. Was it B2B? Was it B2C? What B2C was it? And business to client. And then eventually, now he's like, said, I really like it. We end up being friends, and now we're going to start something else together. And potentially he's going to get work and I'm going to get work. And it's just all started because we just had this confidence. And I found out also that he has dyslexia. And he went for the same thing. And he said, like, yeah, I was a bit ashamed to mention it to you because when you sent me that list of stuff that you wanted, he didn't understand it. Yeah. But he told me, and I was like, I had my dyslexia. I was like, oh, he probably doesn't understand it. Maybe he's got dyslexia. I don't know. Who cares? I'll make it a bit more easier for him to understand.
See? No, that makes total sense. When did you get your first break in videography? How did you get your first break in videography?
Was it the shovel, working up parts of the Caribbean, shoveling? No, that wasn't my big break. That wasn't my big break. Could you imagine? That would have been a great story if I did.
Oh, dear.
But I think the first time my big break was I did it. So the game retailer store did their big grand opening of their new branch of business. And they're no longer going to be a retail. They're going to be gaming arenas. You go there, you can play like VR games and PC gaming, and you can hire out the venue, which is absolutely amazing. It's so much fun, especially on a night out with your friends. It's a good place, icebreaker as well. But I filmed something for them, and then they had like a big event. They had a big, huge event. And it was a Nintendo Switch event, and Nintendo wasn't doing really well. So this was the big event. It was their flagship store. It was their flagship, and everything was like set to play. So it's really quite stressful. And I filmed an event. I filmed something, and I edited it within a couple of hours. Yeah. And then I got emails and messages saying, "Oh my god, the video's done really well." And then from that video, someone pulled me from. They work at Capcom. Yeah. Capcom, and he says, "Look, I've got a big event. I saw your videos at game, and you want to come to film this event with us? I'd never filmed in front of a loud crowd before. I just filmed private sessions or something. And then I said, yeah, sure. And I ended up broadcasting on
Oh
like
my
live
gosh.
streams. So I was broadcasting. I wasn't told I was meant to be. I thought I was just going to film. But next minute they said, all right, when it cuts to you, 12,000 people on your camera are going to watch the stream, and then there's like 3,000 people behind me, and I wasn't told this, so I was literally like, thank God I had a gimbal, because I was like shaking, but the camera was like staying still. So, thank God that gimbals exist, because I was shaking. And I still work with those guys, and the two guys that really gave me a shot, Mark and Richard Denson, they gave me a shot, and now they're absolutely like always hiring me, and they're always calling me because they just thought, you know what, we see something in this guy.
Yeah.
They gave me a shot.
They see your
potential. And now it's to work with them, and they're like one of the main people as well that really get me these esports jobs as well. Visual Platform as well, they're called. I work for them. They're based in West London as well. They're really good guys.
If you were left on a desert island by yourself, you had all the food and water you needed, what one film would you take with you to watch, and why?
It will have to be Gattaca.
Ooh. Tell me about it, because I haven't heard of it. Go on, talk to me.
Gattaca is about a film about a society, it's post-world future. So it's in the future as if the future was in the 1950s. So it's like everything that we don't have, they have in the 1950s. So electric cars, like it's very like old school tech noir. It's very techno, and the film is about people no longer being born with this problems anymore. So alcoholism, heart failure. So if you had a kid, you could genetically engineer that person to be their ideal perfect. And this person was born as naturally. So there's that transition. What about the people that were born normally, and then the people were born like this? So there's a period where these people will eventually die out, but what did they do? So they got given the meaningless jobs like cleaning.
I get it.
But this one person wanted to be an astronaut. And so he decided he was born with a heart failure problem. So he was going to die at the age of 30 or something. But so no job would want to hire him because they're like, you're not genetically perfect.
Yeah. So
he infiltrated them and pretended to be someone else.
Okay.
So he was pretending to be this genetically perfect person, where realistically, in their eyes, he wasn't. And he swapped lives with someone else who was genetically perfect, but didn't want to tell anyone because he was in a horrible accident.
Yeah.
So he was pretending to be him.
Okay.
And the whole idea of this is like, this guy was constantly told that you're not going to make it. You're not going to, he told us, there's a scene in that. He said that I want to be an astronaut. And his dad told him the only time you're ever going to be in a space shuttle is if you're going to clean it.
Oh.
And you see, it's a really like emotional movie. And at the end of the movie, he succeeds, and a lot of emotional things. And it really touched me because that's the type of movie when I get really down about like with dyslexia, or I get really depressed, something. And then I watch this movie, you know what? This is such an inspirational movie. I'm going to do this as well. And I go back to it. So I've been asked that question before. And I think if you're left on a desert island, you need some inspiration to survive.
No, that's
and
true.
That's a good movie to watch to survive. And that's why.
See, I like it. No, I like that. If you had an unlimited amount of money, so you had infinity money, right, Volkan? So you can buy anything or do anything you want. Yeah, what would you change in the film industry or the videography industry to make it better?
Protect workers' rights.
Oh, I like that.
Protect workers' rights. Everyone gets what they're told. Everyone gets a fair share. Everyone get paid. Insurance. Everyone is insured something. Everyone's just like, even the person that makes the tea for the person that makes the coffee for the person that makes the toast for the director.
I like that.
They get paid a nice wage. Everyone looks after. Everyone's something like that. I would like set not a union, because people can go on strikes and stuff like that. I don't know about that. I'm not a businessman, but I want everyone to get paid. If I was ever on set, I would want to make sure everyone's looked after. I'll be like, how's the guy making the tea? Is he all right? Yeah, is he good? Is he stressing out? Is he all right? Has he got a break? I want everyone looked after properly. I understand, working. Sometimes I work in those event jobs, the streaming jobs.
Yeah.
We're working. Those jobs are not easy. Like, you have to go and build the set the day I land. So I usually wake up at 5 a.m. to go on a plane at 7. We land at 10 in the morning, and then we have to build the set. And then after, we've got to do a test. And by the time that's all done, we've only got 2 hours of sleep. and then we have to then start the filming, the actual stream. So that sort of stuff is part of the job. So you have to accept that. But it's also like you would think that people would be more like inclined to be like, oh, okay, I did
Like
well
compassion,
kept.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
you
they
know,
have no
most
compassion.
yeah, and yes, sometimes like I'm a camera operator, I'm filming, but sometimes I have to go out and run and grab everyone's food.
Oh wow.
Yeah, sometimes because the guys at the back are doing streaming. I'm like, I've got 10 minutes to grab some sandwich. And some people sometimes in the industry, it happens not just esports, it happens everywhere. Events, movies, music videos. I'm sure,
Yeah, I can imagine.
or like people are not really looked after properly sometimes, and it's just like this level of stress, and then they. You know, they're quick to criticize, but then when you do a good job, they don't thank you. They're just like part of the job, isn't it? Typical, isn't it? But
Oh man. Talk to me a bit about the background within doing videos. Did you go to college or uni to do videography, or was you self-taught?
um, I s- it, I think it was like my father bought me a camera when I was a kid, and the first thing I wanted to do was stop motion animation with
See.
like my old Jurassic Park toys. That's the first thing I wanted
I
to do.
think
It
you
was
knew what
really
you wanted to do since a kid.
yeah. So I just used to make my own movies at home, and then I went after my secondary school didn't have media studies. It was an all boys school. It was quite a woodworks, electronics, engineering type of secondary school because they didn't really focus on the creative side. It was more like you got to be a craftsman, pretty much. You got like nothing. Like it was great. I learned so much with electronics. That's great. But when I went to college, I did media studies, and then from there, I learned quite a lot about how the industry works, how it sort of works, and everything else. And like you sort of get the basics of what filming is and what videography is. And then when I did my bachelor's, when I did my BA in film studies in Greenwich, that was very film based, and that didn't actually stem any sort of. It was just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to go to Greenwich, so I didn't really do it. But in that process, I was working a lot with filming online. That was my sort of baptism to filming online, like YouTube videos. And I was working, and in that work, I thought making these little sketch videos on YouTube with these people that I'd never heard of was just something that would pass. And eventually, I ended up going to like Tottenham Court Road and work at the YouTube head office. So I was like, how did this happen? And they were like, I was like, and you learn like that's production. And I learned a lot about production and how much stress he gets into it. And then, but I guess what really really boosted my creativity and like my thing is when I did my my masters at Westminster, and it was a bit of a title. It's Film and Television Theory, Culture, Industry,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's a bit of a title there. You know,
It's a long
I always
time.
run out. I always run out of space. I always run out of space. I'm like filmed. Oh bloody hell! Every time. You know,
Oh,
you
dear.
start big, but you get small. That's
Smaller.
always happens.
Oh, dear. Oh, that's cool.
But
Um,
that's of that film theory
yeah.
really filmed like it was a theory based, and the lecturers there were amazing. They really pumped and they really forced you into not just reading from the books or reading from like online or watching, really just focusing on what do you vision and what you want. And so that really helped me in the discipline of how to write a dissertation, write your own dissertation, and everything. And that sort of really helped into my side of working for myself and being very quite strict on like, yeah, I got to do this today, or
Yeah.
like work with clients. And color coordinating was what I learned from that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, color
No,
coordinating.
that's perfect. How would you say you push boundaries for yourself and the people that you work with or work around to make yourself and them better in becoming better within what they're doing and what you're doing also?
I guess that's still something I need to learn how to do. I think during like I never wanted to do like podcasting or broadcasting or streaming because I just thought there's always someone else to do that, and that's my stubbornness, I think. And I thought during this, especially what we have now, I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to learn to do this. I'm going to this, and thankfully I had two again, Richard and Mark Denton. They were the two guys that showed me everything, and Gabriel, the guy at the crew. They're like, this is sort of this and that, and they showed me, and then they sort of left me on my course. All right, cool. And you just need to have people that really. I'm fortunate enough to have so many good people that help push me. that pushed my boundaries. I've got good friends. The guy at Huddle GG, Craig Wood, he sort of pushed me to. I was a bit like, oh, I'm not too sure. I'm not doing it. He was like, no, man, you got to do it. Try it. Just try it. And again, just try it. And if you fail, why did you fail? That's one of the things. And that was it. And I was just so fortunate to have good friends that
around you.
me.
Yeah, no, that
That's
makes
such
sense.
an important thing to have. I think to have good company. Because I surrounded myself with some people that were not good company, and they were just so like, oh yeah, don't bother them. They weren't very like. If I told them I wanted to do streaming, they were just like, are you sure you want to do that? Rather than try it.
That's not the boost you need. You need a boost to say no, you should do it and you should try it, and you never know what could happen. If it's successful, you could go really far with it. Those are the people you need to push you forward.
Yeah, it's so important to have just that old meme, that funny meme, innit? Take your niggas energy and dash it at the wind. There's your the rubbish bin, innit? There's your niggas energy. I love those memes. You just need to stay away from negative energy and just have people around you, and
that's true.
And just have that energy. And some people are not fortunate enough to have that opportunity of like having good people around them. Maybe issues, I don't know, but I was fortunate enough to have such good friends and family members as well. Like to be like, oh, come on, just try it, man. Just do it.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about what's the best memory you have so far doing what you're doing at the moment? If there's one memory you can pull out for me to say, you know what, Savia, this is a really good memory I have from doing what I'm doing, what would it be?
I remember this. I was filming in Finland, and I like to sometimes, to pay the bills. I used to do stock footage, just film nature shots and time lapses. And Finland, and during the winter, it was -30, and
oh my gosh.
those are sort of stuff for anyone out there that, by the way, anyone listening, if you want some quick pay, stock footage is the one. Just film a time lapse and you might get something out of that. That's great advice. That is the best advice I can give you. If you need some paper, just get that quick time lapse. so it was I would say it was -30. It was in Finland, and it was like so cold, and it was snowing. I was setting up my camera, and all I was doing was taking a picture of a frozen lake, and I was actually on the lake.
What?
I was actually on the sea because the ground was frozen underneath me, and the only advice I got given was, if you see boats, you've gone too far. So they're like, if you see boats here, turn back. So I was on this water. I could hear the ice crackling, but it's fine. It was really thick, and it was -5. And I was filming, and I just thought, I'm in the middle of nowhere, completely on my own, on a cottage in Scandinavia, filming something that I might not get any money out of. But I just, why would anyone do this? And I just thought, this is why I love doing this, because I take that, and that's when I realized, like, this is going to be my life. This is for the rest of my life. I'm going to do this. It's just, it's a drug. It's just, and I did that footage. I didn't get anything out of it. Got a good Instagram post, I guess. But it's a great Instagram post. But I think, but that was it. I was like, I'm so cold, alone on the ice, which could crack, and I'm filming something. But who cares? This is so much fun. And then 2 weeks later, I was in Paris filming some guys from Asia win like a couple of €1,000 for me, and I was like, this is just the weirdest job. But sometimes it takes you places. That's my performance, man. And I think that's one of the best memories I have ever of my life. Yeah.
Oh, I love that one. Define what success means to you in your own words.
Defines success.
Yeah, everybody has a different definition of what success means to them. Like, some people could mean passing a driving test, some people could mean healing from cancer. Define what success means to you as an individual.
I think it's just, it used to be how much you make. I think that's the cliche, I'm making loads of money, or that I'm traveling. I think success is just, you just wake up after those long days of working and then setting up, and you wake up, and I don't do huff and puff. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
That to me, it's like, you know what? I've just worked 15 hours and I haven't even started the filming yet.
Yeah.
I can't wait to start. And that's, for me, success. I feel like you've made it. Like, you work a job, you wake up, you're like, oh, I've got to do 4 hours of a job. That's not success. That's something you need to do to support. I've worked so many jobs where I had to support this. I mean, even now during this time, I'm doing some gardening work. I mean, who cares?
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's actually quite therapeutic in a way.
Yeah, and so that to me is success. Waking up after a long day of before and then thinking, do you know what? I still love doing this. I just love it. There's not like I've never huffed and puffed I mean, I've worked for places where I was a video editor, and I was daunting. I was really like, anxiety was creeping in, and I was making a lot of money there, and I was like really high end job, and I was like quite high, but I just wasn't happy going to these things, but now I work, and now before it was like, yeah. It wasn't the people around me at that job. They were lovely people, amazing people. I just wasn't happy, and I realized that
you had to find your happiness somehow.
Yeah, and so that was it. And now what I'm doing now, even during this lockdown, you sort of wake up, and we talked about scheduling our lives, routine, and I'm so happy. I'm like, yeah, I got my day sorted. I'm so happy. Isn't it? It's just what it is. It's fun.
Well, what would you say to anyone out there who wants to become a videographer and just needs that kind of kick or inspiration because they haven't got it? What would you say to them?
Honestly, you've got to keep. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Just keep trying, and if you really want to do it, you'll do it, and you will get what you need and what you want. You just have to keep trying, and again, it will be a thing where it will become an obsession, maybe. And if it becomes an obsession, then let it become an obsession. Because even if you're like broke, poor, you've got no clients, don't treat it as like, I've got no clients. Go at it. Just keep trying, and you will get it. You will get that. And as soon as you get that first little client, that, you know, even if it's someone that says, can you film my kid's birthday party and I'll give you whatever, that will boost your confidence from absolutely amazing. And don't let no one bring you down and like, oh, I filmed. If you're in a room full of people and they say, I filmed this, I filmed that, oh, I was out, I met Brad Pitt or whatever, and you could hold your head up high and say, oh, I filmed the kids party, I got my first client. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's your first
client. Yeah.
When you get that first client, that's when that's the best one. It's the best feeling ever to get that first client, and then you're like, yeah, this is the best thing ever.
Oh man!
Because you get from nothing, and then you made it into something, and it's just the best thing. I'm sure that's what a painter feels like. That's just someone.
Yeah, definitely.
I've never crafted anything in my life, but I'm sure that's what it feels like. Yeah. But at the end of it.
No, that makes perfect. Volkan, where can we find you? So give me all your social medias. Promote yourself as much as you can now.
Okay. On Instagram, it's the Bearded Videographer.
I love that. I love that, by the way. I couldn't believe,
and my website again is the same. It's thebeardedvideographer.com. You can catch me on Twitter as well, Volkanberg. That's my gamer tag for my emo gaming stuff as well. That's my thing, but I do promote on that as well. A little cheekiness, but yeah, I guess that's it, the Bearded Videographer.
That's perfect. Volkan, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Yes People podcast. It's been brilliant. Thank you for all the advice.
Having me so much. I really enjoyed this. It's my first ever time being on front of the camera. You know
yeah. well, actually, I tell you guys, right? So when we first started, Volkan actually said to me, do you want to video this? And I said, I didn't know we could. So he's kindly enough videoed this podcast for everyone else to see. So it will actually be, Volkan, the first video that I put out of the Yes People podcast. I swear down.
I'll send you the invoice.
You want me to? I really don't mind.
No, absolutely.
So it's the first actual video of the Us People podcast that we'll be putting out is actually you, which is
oh wow,
yeah.
That's I shouldn't have. I'm not doing it. I'm not sending it now. No, absolutely anything. And you see, that's another thing. Help each other out. That's such a thing to do. Just help each other out. Just do something.
I love that. No, that's perfect. Guys, I want to thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast. And as always, please subscribe to Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and any other platform that you prefer. Please also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And always remember, you can donate to the Us People podcast so we can continue to speak to beautiful people like Volkan here. And please remember, all you need to do is send, if you want to sponsor us, send a sponsor to paypal.me/Us People podcast. As always, guys, thank you for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, continue to be kind to one another.
Absolutely fine. It was so much fun. My room is so hot. I closed the window. I'm literally like, it looks like I'm sweating. I'm nervous, but I'm literally just like. I'm gonna be like, just take my shirt off and be like, hey, what's the podcast? Yes.